I've heard you talk before about some of the prime movers for longevity and all-risk mortality. And I'd love for you to review a little bit of that for us. I think we all know that we shouldn't smoke because it's very likely that we'll die earlier if we smoke nicotine. I'm neither a marijuana nor a nicotine smoker, so I feel on stable ground there. But anytime we see smoking nowadays, people really want to distinguish between cannabis and nicotine. So I am curious about any differences there in terms of impact on longevity. But in that context, what are the things that anyone and everyone can do, should do to live longer, basically?
How long you got?
Well, you tell me. You tell me. I'd like my final decade to be between 90 and 100.
Oh, no, I meant how long do you?
I'm just kidding. And
will we spend from now until you're 90 talking about this?
Well, there's a risk of that.
So let's start with a couple of the things that you've already highlighted. So smoking. How much does smoking increase your risk of all-cause mortality? And the reason we like to talk about what's called ACM or all-cause mortality is it's really agnostic to how you die. And that doesn't always make sense. I mean, if you're talking about, a very specific intervention like a anti-cancer therapeutic, you really care about cancer-specific mortality or heart-specific mortality. But when we talk about these sort of broad things, we like to talk about ACM. So, using smoking is approximately a 40% increase in the risk of ACM.
What does that translate to? And that means I'm shortening my life by 40%?
No, it means at any point in time, there's a 40% greater risk that you're going to die relative to a non-smoker and a never smoker. Yeah. So it's important to distinguish. It doesn't mean your lifespan is going to be 40% less. It means at any point in time standing there, your risk of death is 40% higher. And by the way, that'll catch up with you, right? At some point that catches up. High blood pressure, it's about a 20 to 25% increase in all-cause mortality. You take something really extreme like end-stage kidney disease. So these are patients that are on dialysis waiting for an organ. And again, there's a confounder there because what's the underlying condition that leads you to that? It's, profound hypertension, significant type 2 diabetes that's been uncontrolled. That's enormous. That's about 175% increase in ACM. So the hazard ratio is like 2.75. Mm-hmm. Type 2 diabetes is probably about a 1.25 as well. So a 25% increase. So now the question is like, how do you improve? So what are the things that improve those? So now here we do this by comparing low to high achievers on other metrics. So if you look at low muscle mass versus high muscle mass, what is the improvement? And it's pretty significant. It's about 3x. So if you compare low muscle mass people to high muscle mass people as they age, the low muscle mass people have about a 3x hazard ratio or a 200% increase in all-cause mortality. Now, if you look at the data more carefully, you realize that it's probably less the muscle mass fully doing that, and it's more the high association with strength. And when you start to tease out strength, you can realize that strength could be probably 3.5x as a hazard ratio, meaning about 250% greater risk if you have low strength to high strength.
And high strength is the ability to move loads at 80 to 90% of one repetition.
It's all defined by given studies. So the most common things that are used are actually, they're used for the purposes of experiments that make it easy to do. And I don't even think they're the best metrics. So they're usually using like grip strength, leg extensions, and like wall sits, squats, things like that. Okay. So how long can you sit in a squatted position at 90 degrees without support would be a great demonstration of quad strength. A leg extension, how much weight can you hold for how long relative to body weight, things like that. We have a whole strength program that we do with our patients. We have something called the SMA, so it's the Strength Metrics Assessment, and we put them through 11 tests that are really difficult. Like a dead hang is one of them. Like how long can you dead hang your body weight, stuff like that. So we're trying to be more granular in that insight, but tie it back to these principles. If you look at cardiorespiratory fitness, it's even more profound. So if you look at people who are in the bottom 25% for their age and sex in terms of VO2 max, and you compare them to the people that are just at the 50th to 75th percentile, you're talking about a 2x difference roughly in the risk of ACM. If you compare the bottom 25% to the top 2.5%, so you're talking about bottom quarter to the elite for a given age, you're talking about 5x,
Wow.
400% difference in all-cause mortality. That's probably the single strongest association I've seen for any modifiable behavior.
Incredible. So when you say elite, these are people that are running marathons at a pretty rapid clip?
Not necessarily. It's just like what the VO2 max is for that. Like my VO2 max would be in the elite for my age group. My VO2 max, but again, I'm training very deliberately to make sure that it's in that. So I wouldn't consider myself elite at anything anymore, but I still maintain a VO2 max that is elite for my age.
I consider you an elite physician and podcaster and guy all around, but true. But in terms of, okay, so
but the point is, like, you don't have to be a world-class athlete to be elite here. Yeah.
Got it.